G'day and welcome back. Today I'm going to be looking at my rear and front dropout spacing so I can work out some wheel options for my Valencia project. Now the rear end of this bike is of a horizontal dropout design, so similar to a sort of track bike type setup. And the width of this particular one, you can measure it with these guys, with the reset button. Give me about 120 millimeters. We'll just try in closer as well. There you go, 119, 120 millimeters. So that's the rear spacing. Now let's look at the front. Right, now fork spacing does tend to be fairly uniform, but it's always worth double checking, just in case you get a bike that's a bit strange and then you've got to look something else up. Right, so it's measuring 96 millimeters, which is much less than what I was expecting. I was expecting a 100 millimeter fork. Check the side as well. We go 95, 96s, but the fork might be bent in slightly. Although we can verify that later. Great, that gives me enough to work out some wheels now. So I'll go in and work out what wheel options I can fit inside this bike. Right, so for our measurements, we know that we've got approximately 120 millimeter rear end spacing, and we know we've got horizontal dropouts or track dropouts. And on the front, we know I've got about, I'll call it about 100 millimeters. It's a little bit close. We can always adjust those later. Front, and just kind of standard front dropouts. Just for quick release or probably bolt up either way. Can probably go either way with that one. So what a rear spacing of 120 millimeter gets us is 120 is like the track single speed. So I could run it fixed, could run it single speed. No worries, so that's all the native support for 120 millimeter. You can make a narrower hub wider, so you could use like a 117 millimeter Sturmey Archer hub. It's like a 3-speed. Have a 3-speed internal gear setup on there. That's one option. I'll probably go with a coaster brake or something like that. That's kind of the setup I was thinking of going, steering towards that coaster arrangement with a 3-speed, because it would be nice to have gears on it, but then a bit more complexity. Could go 110 millimeter coaster with some spacers. So this would be some spacers. Let's space it out 3 mil just to bring it out to 120. 110 millimeter coaster, might change the axle, but that'd plus some spacers. And that'd bring it up to 120. I could try to work out, I could do like a cold set, so instead of being 120 millimeters, make it a little bit wider, bring it out to 126. And get like a 7 or 6 speed derailleur setup, so with the rear derailleur, and then have derailleur gears on the back there, and then I have to have a brake on there as well. So I do have the ability to put brakes on the front and the back, so just caliper brakes. Those fittings are already on the frame, so that's definitely an option. What I'm kind of steering towards with the rear end is something like your Sturmey 3-speed coaster hub, which is bolt up 3-speed with a little lever type deal. So I think that's the way I'm going to go with that spacing, and then I'll just space it out however the chain line needs to be for 117 millimeters. So 3 mil spacer, I suppose, potentially 1.5 mil each side, but I'll just have to see what's going to work nicely with our bottom brackets and cranksets, which I haven't quite got to yet. As far as the front goes, can kind of run anything. Sort of steering towards something bolt up, so I have bolt up front and rear, so probably bolt up. Don't really want quick release, so just a bolt up. Don't know if I go seal bearing, probably just go something classic looking. I was thinking of getting either like a brand new wheel set or try to find a used one It's if I can find a used one, I'd be keen to do that just to keep sort of the aesthetic of the bike going. Otherwise, I can leave the wheels out in the weather for a little while before I use it, just to weather it a bit, and that'd kind of match the bike nicely. Get rid of some of the fresher decals and that sort of thing. So it doesn't really matter front hub, I suppose, but kind of I want matching rims. So either extra spokes on the back, so this would be like a 36 hole, and I wouldn't mind like a 36, 32 spoke sort of setup, so 36 rear, 32 front. I think that'd look pretty good. Or 36 both. 36 both would be fine. Can load the bike up a bit, chuck some racks on there, make it awesome. So either of those, whatever, doesn't really fuss me too much. But I do like the idea of the coaster. So if you're riding one-handed, it makes it easy to control the bike. Happen to be doing that, like you go down the shops, pick some milk up, and you want to ride back with it. That's kind of cool having the coaster. And the coaster's kind of, you can rip some pretty cool skids with it, burn through some tyres. It's kind of fun. So yeah, I guess for the next one, still got to work out what wheel size it's supposed to be. So I guess I'll measure that up and see what wheel size we need for it. So catch you in the next one. That's where we're at with hub compatibility.